If blood money is He-Man, Infestation is Stinkor. On Amigos, everything Amiga. Hi everybody, welcome to Amigos. I'm John.
And I'm Aaron.
And today, Aaron, we're talking about Infestation.
Yeah.
Boy.
You didn't hold anything back in that opening there, did you, Bo?
Listen, I got a lot of blowback. Really, I got one person blowing back from when we talked about blood money.
Yeah.
And I gave it the Class A burial, and also Psygnosis, who I told totally responsible.
We had a lot of discussion about Psygnosis after that.
I am going to have opinions about Infestation.
Yeah, gathered. Yeah,
that might trend towards the negative. But, Aaron, before we get into Infestation, why would you call a game Infestation?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Why not? Why anything?
That makes my skin crawl.
I was watching a show last night, and there was this game that was called, like, a G called P or something like that. It was some game that just had like letters.
That sounds dumb.
I'm like,
did that come from Japan?
Oh, are you kidding me? What's that one game that was out on the TurboGrafx? It was like Q's Quest or R or and there's like a series of these games or Y. No, it's Y.
Yeah,
but you pronounce it a cool guy style.
Right.
It's Y. Okay, it ain't E's. If they wanted to pronounce E's, they put a bunch of E's in there and some Z's and crap. And this was something similar to that. So listen, compared to that and a Y, Infestation, plenty fine. Plus, it sort of makes sense with the plot.
Did you ever have to deal with any infestations up on the mountain?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We got some ants up there.
Really?
Yeah. And then also lizards. Like, here's an infestation story I don't think I've told. So, I would get these lizards that would come in the house, right? Everybody loves lizards, right? Especially wake up with them, crawling around your ceiling or whatever. And so I kept getting rid of these suckers.
How do you get rid of them?
Oh, you use a broom. I can tell you that.
Okay.
I didn't kill them.
You weren't crushing them beneath your feet.
So, anyways, I had this couch up on the mountain, right? It was like a love seat.
Right.
I would lounge on that love seat. I would have people come up and sit on the love seat when they were there. So one day I was like, I'm gonna turn the cushions on this love seat, right? Pulled the cushion out. There's one totally flat lizard. He slept in the wrong spot on Mud Mountain, so he got dealt with. That's the last time I ever saw a lizard up there. I also threw out the love seat, by the way.
The other lizards probably came across his dead body and thought, man, we got to get out of here.
Trust me, there's no way you're getting to the body. And this thing was pancaked. It was totally pancaked lizard.
What was the love seat like? Was it comfy?
Well, I mean, it was a little lizardy. I mean, aside from that, it was okay. Hey, listen, I found it on the curb. I was poor. What do you want from me?
How did you get it home?
Oh, we drove it up on the top of the Nova.
Man, it's such a tragedy we didn't have mobile cameras back in the day on the cell phone.
It's not. Listen, do you know the amount of dumb things I did up in the mountain? The worst was getting the arcade machine up there because I took it up in the back of the Chevy Citation I had. And then when I got it, up on Mud Mountain, there's a set of stairs that lowers you to the back of the house. Then you've got to walk all the way around it to get to a door, the only door. Well, the arcade machine wouldn't fit down the stairs because of the railing.
The rails, yeah.
So we just knocked those down, and they never got rebuilt. So coincidentally, I fell down the stair dozens of times.
Was this one of the occasions where you brought the Phazios home?
That was, mostly everyone else, I got used to it because you got to be stealthy.
Right.
I would tiptoe down those stairs. And also sometimes if they were slick, I would do the old Spider-Man.
How do you do that?
You turn around backwards or backwards.
Yeah.
And then you just go creeping down.
That's right.
Like that.
Hands are involved.
Yeah. But my buddies, they didn't know. I would just sit back and watch the hilarious antics as they almost died. Beer flying everywhere, drinks and food. It happened over and over.
I'm glad you mentioned the arcade machine, the old Mud Mountain main machine.
Yeah.
Because
that's the machine. You've got it.
Well, I was going to say, on Facebook, it's been 10 years since you sold me that machine.
Yeah. It worked out great for you because it looks nice over there.
Its memory continues on. You've got a picture of it up there on the old, on the old wall.
Because Uncle Larry painted stuff on the side.
Yeah.
And then you painted over that.
I did.
So clearly you weren't impressed with his art.
I think it was really one of those installations that was perfect for the mountain, but when you bring it outside of that habitat, it changed.
Yeah, it's funny because I had the arcade machine. I left the back off, and I didn't. It was empty in there except for a screen. I just had the computer crap just sitting off to the side. It was so dopey. It's the most ghetto main machine you ever saw. That's the way you do it up in the mountains, man.
Oh yeah. Well, Aaron, let's talk about how we do it in Infestation.
I don't like the sound of that part.
Stream it on YouTube.
Oh, man.
All right,
That's
Infestation.
a real catchy tune they got there.
Anytime you have to wait 30 seconds to a minute for any melodic activity to kick in, you know you're in for a treat.
It kicks up after a while, but it takes a little while, Boat. So let's talk about Infestation, Boatster. You know, had you heard of this one before we tackled it on the show here?
Never.
Well, there's a reason for that. But, it does follow the cool guy formula that is Psygnosis. Of course, this is a Psygnosis joint. Now, get this, Bode. This came out in 90, and it came out on the PC, or excuse me, on the PC, on the Amiga, the Atari ST, all the same year. And this is one of the rare times where the back of the box, I looked at the little ad, it said screenshots of Atari ST version.
That's not a good sign when that happens.
And here's the best part. This got one other release, Bode. The 1992 release on the FM Towns, brother. They had to get them some.
That's right.
I can see how this would go over Japan.
I saw a Car Marty in person when I was visiting Neil. So,
what did you think of it? Did you get to play with it?
No, unfortunately, it was under glass. You can't let something that valuable out in the wilderness.
That's why you never leave home without a small hammer, Bode. So, getting back to Infestation. This was coded by Dan Gallagher of watermelon busting fame. No, of programming fame. He didn't do a whole lot on the Amiga. Red Zone and Voyager, which we've never played. No, see, Red Zone was that Psygnosis motorcycle game, wasn't it? I think we did play that at some point.
Not me. I
on
can't
stream,
remember that.
I think,
maybe. So.
The graphics on this, Jim Ray Bowers, who worked on Obliterator, Strix, and Aquaventure. And, of course, he was seconded by Herman Serrano. Now, this guy, we've played a bunch of his games he did graphics on. Bubble and Squeak, the Chaos Engine series, Liberation, Wing Commander. So he was involved in a lot of stuff. Music on this, Sean Conran. Now, get this. I'm so happy to bring this guy up. Old Sean. This guy needs to be called out. Amongst his works of musical prowess, the Yogi the Bear game, your personal favorite, the Top Cat game, the Hong Kong Phooey game.
Yes.
The Duckula game. Wait, it's not over.
Okay.
WWF WrestleMania.
Let's just keep on coming.
And Rough and Ready.
I'm surprised he didn't do Huckleberry Hound as well.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I was thinking that Huckleberry Hound have any music. I can't remember. So, yeah. And, of course, the box art for this is cool looking. It's like a big bug. Well, guess what? This was on Terry Pratchett's book, Dark Side of the Sun, another one of those gimmicks where I just horked the book, and this was some Tim White.
Somewhat unsettling how often that happened with Psygnosis games, where they're just like, here's a cool picture, we'll slap it on there.
Oh, it's not unsettling, it's smart, because they're cool pictures.
That's true. It probably did sell some titles.
It's not like they put the cover art from, Encyclopedia Britannica Volume 4. I mean, these are cool pictures of bugs. Now, does this have anything to do with the game? A little bit.
Yeah,
but I mean, kinda. You're really pushing it there. So, just to finish out the flavor here, originally this was a 25-pounder, right? Not cheap.
This is a regular price game.
25-pounder, one disc, and you can take it from there, Bo. What did you think of this thing when it comes up? Because it does have a very miniaturized Psygnosis level animation at the beginning.
Yeah, there's a cool shot of a spaceship taking off and a spaceman. And the story behind this game, from what I can understand, is that you are sent to this planet to take care of an infestation.
Yeah.
Your job is to locate the base that has been infested, descend into the base, and use cyanide capsules to destroy the eggs of this species that threatens to take over the universe.
The old alien eggs. And then, of course, blow up the planet, I believe, is also.
Yeah, that's the last thing, and the instruction manual is very helpful. It breaks the fourth wall wide open, and it says as soon as you leave the planet, hit escape.
Yeah.
Hit escape to blow up the planet.
Now let's talk about how this game comes up. Of course, we mentioned the animation. It's your guy and a ship. Sort of drops. He's like a guy in a spacesuit, and then it gives you this menu. The menu's written in sort of like, in my mind, the menus for this are like the grammar is like Russian cool guy.
Yeah, this is probably the worst font I've ever seen in a game.
Everything's backwards and sideways and weird. Like it's like a Russian cool guy.
I was afraid that I was going to have to deal with this text the whole game. Luckily, you don't. It's just on the main menu that you have to deal with this text.
No, when you're in the terminals, it's like that too.
But there's very little to do in the terminal.
Now, remember, you'll recall just a week ago, we played a game that required you to hit several keys on the keyboard. That game's for suckers.
Yeah.
This game saw what that game did and said, hold my beers. Both of them, because I'm going to need both hands to operate this game. This thing's got a cornucopia of keyboard shortcuts, including you have to have a keypad.
Yeah, I believe there's about 12 keys that you have to have at the ready, not including the cursor keys.
So I had to go into mine, and I had to hook up the old USB. I had to hook up the USB keyboard that has the keypad on it, so I could actually get in there and do anything.
Hashtag Wedge Life sucks.
Well, I had to do it on my main computer too.
You don't have a keypad on your main computer?
Keypads are for suckers. What year is this? 2023. Don't need keypads.
You've got a keypad right there.
Do you work for a bank? Come on.
Are you saying that keypads are not? Most people don't have keypads anymore.
I'll tell you a story.
Okay.
Story time. You know, there was a time where I was unemployed briefly. I know it's stunning because of my incredible resume. So I thought, I'm going to get this bank job. And they want some sucker to do data entry at the bank.
Yeah.
But you had to be an expert with, like, the keypad. All right? I'm like, okay. So I went in there with a bunch of dullards. I thought, I'm going to crush these guys.
Right.
And I did.
Yeah.
I mean, I crushed them at typing. So then it was time to, like, do the keypad input, you know. That's much harder than you would think to do that. But that's still okay. It did get the job. Turns out the bank screwed me because I'm too good. That's my thoughts on it. I'm sure they had some kind of stupid reason.
That's happened to me before,
Grand larceny, maybe. But that's where you have to use the keypad.
Well, you know, we do a little thing in the band called fundraising every year.
I've heard of that.
And surprisingly, I have to add up a lot of numbers with the old numpad. So if my band directing career ever falls flat, you got to give me the number of that bank. I'm ready to move in.
Kidding. Oh, I'm sure they're long gone. They've been absorbed. So and we joke, we laugh because we love. We love hating using the keyboard when you play video games. And this is no difference. Just to give you a rough idea, you use every function key, the help key, escape, tab, and 7 of the keys on the keypad. Yeah. That's a ton of keys. It's like 20 keys.
Yeah.
But
it's a lot of keys for what is, in fact, a very simple game.
And you also have to type in words. So not only are you using the short keys, but you also have to type in words. So let's talk about how this game opens, Bode.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell them how it opens.
So the game opens, if you're watching at home, it looks like the gameplay is running at about 6 times the speed that it should. It's really moving. The game does not move as fast as you see here. The game opens on the planet's surface, okay? And you beam down, and you see it's a lot like Battlezone, if you're familiar with the classic arcade game. You see a wasteland of nothing around you, and you see some mountains in the distance. A few seconds later, the sun rises up. It's beautiful, and it's sort of an early vector polygonal way. And you see yourself, and you're like, okay, I'm ready to play this game. So you walk around, and you'll notice immediately that you're swarmed on by these. They look kind of like caterpillars, like the hungry caterpillar, the big circle segmented caterpillar. There's some various other things. There's a
robot-looking guys. Some, like bug guys.
And so your job is to wander around this wasteland. Okay.
Just go ahead and say it. You look like a geek.
You do.
Go ahead.
Now you can shoot these guys. Okay, you're equipped with like some sort of plasma beam or something, and you can shoot, and you can kill these guys. And you're like, yeah, I'm doing stuff. Except you're not, because all that you're doing is your oxygen is running out and your fuel is running out. Okay, because what the game doesn't tell you is that this is not the game. This is just the prologue to the game. A really dumb prologue.
Let me stop you right there. Now, did you read the instructions before you started playing?
No, after I started playing.
Okay, so how long did you rumble around the service and think to yourself, this stinks?
Far too long. Far too long.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so go ahead.
So, it turns out that this whole area that when you're on the top of the planet has nothing to do with the game. Your only job when you're on the surface is to locate a terminal, and this is where the copy protection comes in, because you have to type in your name. Now, the game doesn't tell you anywhere that this is what you have to do. You're supposed to infer it by reading the novella, okay? Yeah. Your name in this game is Cal Solar.
Yeah, you got to memorize for life, don't you?
Yeah. And so you have to, when you find this terminal, which the game doesn't tell you where it is, you have to blunder about on the planet's surface until you find this precise locations where this terminal is. You type in your name, then you have to travel to a different location to find the transporter that actually takes you into the base.
Right. The terminal, so this game has your kind of, I don't know, liney victory sort of graphics, but everything sort of looks like something, a pointy thing or a triangle. But you don't even, at first, you don't know what you're looking for.
Right.
Like, what is a terminal?
Right.
Because once I wandered around for like an hour, the thing is you run out of oxygen eventually.
Right.
Or you gas yourself. There are any number of ways
you can be killed by the enemies.
But which doesn't happen that often. But once I wandered around for a while, I came across something. I thought, okay, what is that? I didn't know what it was. Then I was like, okay, you got to go look at the hint sheet here. So one thing you don't know, well, you probably know it, is there are precise instructions to get to this point, and they're in the little hint thing I saw. One of the buttons on the keypad will change your display to where it gives you like a vector.
Right. So what you have to do is you have to turn on the navigation.
Yeah.
Which is number 1 on the keypad. Trust me, I know all these keys now.
Yeah.
Okay. You turn on the navigation and then you get coordinates, X and Y coordinates. Then you have to consult the third-party hint source on Lemon Amiga because you're not getting no help in the instructions.
No.
Okay.
None.
And you have to navigate yourself. I believe the coordinates are 90-30.
Yeah.
To get to the terminal, okay? You approach the terminal, which just looks like a big obelisk, okay? You'd have no idea it was a terminal. Then you have to hit F2. Why? Because that's what the hints say to do. So you hit F2 to access the terminal. Then you can type in your name.
Yeah.
Okay? Then you have to navigate to 40,50.
Well, you even got the coordinates memorized, eh?
Yeah.
So, I didn't memorize all those coordinates. I did it eventually. I used them once to get to the first thing. I just sort of memorized where they were at by going there enough times. Because what will happen inevitably is that you'll get to the terminal, you'll type your name in. By the way, when you type in your name, nothing happens. Then when you hit F2 again, then you hear like a and that. So if you think I'm going to type my name in, it's going to say, it doesn't say Jack. So it's very confusing.
Yeah, it doesn't say like access granted, please proceed, which a real game would.
Right, so you hit F2 and then you run, and so you're gonna die a lot just getting to the other thing.
Right.
And then once you get there, then the game, like you said, truly begins. I mean, I'm a sort of
in quotation marks.
It truly ended for me when I made it down here. So, like Bo said, this is where you have to get down into these underground area. The underground in this is sort of like, it reminded me kind of the Next Generation, like walking the halls of the Star Trek Next Generation, the Enterprise. Some of the halls are square. But one thing the halls all have in common, we played an RPG a couple years ago where you wandered the halls, and the walls they had the exact same texture. Remember how much you hated that?
Yeah, it was the old dungeon crawler.
This game was like, you think you had texture before, they give you nothing.
Yeah, there's nothing.
And I knew I was in trouble when I was reading the hint sheet. He goes, at this point, this is where you need to start making your map. I was like, oh. And I actually, I should have brought my little graph out.
Oh, I would love to see that.
I tried to map this. It's so confusing.
Well, the trouble is that most of the time when you're playing a dungeon crawler, and I'm actually going to put over dungeon crawlers a little bit here, compared to this game,
Holy smokes.
dungeon crawlers are the best game that's ever been created. Because in dungeon crawlers, you have rooms that are of different sizes.
Yeah.
So maybe you'll go into like a big, wide escape, and since you're moving literally 1 pixel at a time, you can kind of get a sense for the relative size of things.
Right.
And you can use that when you're making a map.
Sure.
In this game, you have endless series of hallways that open up into 1 square wide rooms.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you have ventilation shafts that are endless hallways that open back up into hallways.
Right.
So that's the extent of the geography.
And on top of everything else, like you have to open doors. Well, how do you open a door? F1, of course.
Right.
Why would it be anything but F1? Oh, I should mention, we forgot something very important about the upper world part. So you're an astronaut, so the whole time you're up there, there's breathing noise, okay? It's pretty neat for like the first couple seconds, and then you want your guy to die.
Yeah.
And so thankfully, when you get underground, you can take off your ventilation.
Well, you can until you want to drop some cyanide,
That's
and then
true.
you gotta put it back on. Also, in the above ground part, the above ground part actually, ironically enough, was my favorite part of the game.
Yeah, me too. It's the only place I had any success.
You have a jetpack that you can fly around in.
Did you do that much?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's how I use that. I use that to get in the ballpark, and then you got to crawl it the last like half mile or so.
It's not
And
precise.
so, yeah.
My flight was like if I flew in real life.
Right.
It's just like, it's like the greatest freaking hero.
Right, and so the only noise in this game is literally the sound of you breathing like Darth Vader.
Yeah.
If you have your suit on, the breathing is incredibly loud. If you have your suit off, the breathing is softer.
It's pretty creepy. I mean, it builds up, and as you guys, I guess run out of air or whatever. But yeah, it got real old.
Yeah.
Real old. So, like, as we mentioned, you go down into the pits. But anyway, getting back to the mapping situation, one of the problems I had was that the door in this thing, you couldn't tell how close you were to the doors. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so you couldn't tell exactly where you were to map it.
That's exactly the problem with this game, is that the rooms are all so small.
Right.
You cannot determine your relative placement anywhere.
Right. How did you get on underground?
Well, what I did was I did my old trick that I do whenever we play dungeon crawlers, and I always follow the right. I just go to the right.
But won't you inevitably go into a circle?
Well, that's the problem with my thing, is that eventually you get to a point where you have to go into the shafts, the ventilation shafts.
Yeah.
And at that point, I was just stumbling through the dark. I was going random places. I saw different things. And the thing is, because this game is all flat shaded polygons, you're never sure what anything is.
No.
You don't know. Most things will kill you. You know what eggs look like. They're at the beginning of the game. They do have this. If you watch the sort of attract mode, you can go and they have a thing where they will show you like 3D models of the various parts.
Mode,
yeah. But when you're actually in the thick of things and you're playing the game, you'll forget all of that, and everything just looks like butt. It's no good.
I got to a thing that looked like kind of like a big head, and I don't mean my old buddy Todd. And so I was like, what is this thing? So I ran into it and I died. Like overheated or something. I was like, what happened? So I watched a guy do a playthrough, and he said, yeah, you're going to get to this thing. You have to hold the fire button now for about 15 seconds. I was like, how would you ever know that?
Right.
Who would ever stumble upon that,
There are so many things in this game. Well, this game is essentially all trial and error.
Yeah.
Because you're not given any information about exactly what you're supposed to do other than you're supposed to destroy these eggs. We should talk about the eggs.
Yeah.
So this is not a game where it's like each level has 4 eggs, you find the 4 eggs, and then you go to the next level. This is 168 eggs you have to destroy.
Is it that many?
It's 168.
Oh my God.
So I mean, this is okay.
I didn't get that many.
Okay, so let's I want to zoom out here. Okay,
zoom out, man.
What kind of game is this?
Adventure exploration.
Okay, in an adventure exploration game, what do you like to see?
Not that many eggs, I can tell you.
Okay, what do you want out of an adventure exploration?
Well,
game?
I would like the ability to like progress, to have some sort of achievement, to like feel like that I'm getting better or nearing a goal.
Would you like to see multiple different kinds of places as you're exploring?
Sure, yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that would be good. Do you get that in this game?
I mean, kinda. You see 3 places.
Well, what about meeting interesting aliens or non-player characters? Would you say that's a thing you like to do in adventure games?
Yes.
Okay. Do you get any of that in this game?
Well, not a ton. Mostly I die because about my own hand, generally.
What about a sweeping orchestral soundtrack?
Well, there's some drum things at the very beginning. It's almost like you're setting something up here, Boat.
This game fails to be fun on every conceivable level. There is no world I can imagine where playing this game would be fun to anyone. I mean, and it's very rare that we play a game like that.
Well, listen, I'm going to play devil's advocate.
Okay, play away. Play away.
I can't. I'm more like a little devil's advocate.
Okay.
If you recall the CD32 title.
Mm-hmm.
If I bought this at full price, okay, I would expect a long time, a lot of play. Okay.
Okay.
Now remember, it's 1990.
Right.
Put yourself in 1990.
Okay.
You bring this home for your Amiga.
Mm-hmm.
Look, it's in 3D.
It's in
cool.
3D. That is cool.
You can fly.
Yep.
There's mysteries, and you're having to figure stuff out, sort of like a click.
Tell me about the mysteries.
Like, how do I get underground?
So
Like,
the mystery is, how do I play the game?
that's right.
Okay.
And then and I'm like, what do I do? Like, where am I? Stuff like that. But I mean,
Listen, you can go into a room and turn off all the lights and play the same game.
you can just have
okay?
a couple of shots of bourbon and play that game.
Right.
Why am I here? Who's that? But I mean, my point is, you get some adventuring. I can see how in the time, I don't think this game aged well. Okay. I think there's some interesting parts. The terminal, we love terminals. All right. Much like the game we played a couple months ago where you went down to caves and there's terminals. They add to the fun. And in this thing, you can do stuff with the terminals, a few things, and when you see them. Listen, I would love to give you the skinny on how the really cool, intricate stuff on this, but I couldn't get there. I had to watch another guy get there.
Listen, I watched other people play this game, and I still don't know where the fun is.
I literally had to watch a guy go through it, like, frame by frame, to get anywhere.
Yeah. I just, I can forgive a lot of stuff in game, but what I can't forgive is a game that I can't put myself in any position to be where I would be like, man, I'm having some amount of entertainment here. I guess if you're one of these people that really, really likes mazes, to me, this is more of a maze game. It's like a 3D maze game.
Yeah.
Where you're like, man, I'm going to get out the graph paper and I'm going to chart this thing out.
Yeah.
I'm going to find all the eggs. And then I'm going to descend into the bottom of this thing so I can do the problem is
that's the mentality you have to have.
Yeah, and so okay, maybe I'm going to walk back my statement. If you're of that persuasion, and again, 1990,
it's old school,
3D maze.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm on board. Plotting it out and then slowly working your way down to the bottom, because at the bottom there is stuff to do. At the end of the game, you have to figure out how to adjust the temperature controls and do stuff to blow up the planet. So there is cool stuff, but the getting to that part seems to just be mindless mapping out of things, and just you don't even get to shoot stuff. All you have to do is you find an egg, you let off a cyanide capsule, and you walk away.
Yeah. Or you gas yourself, which happens quite a bit. So the thing is this. I watched a guy go through this whole game, all right? He said, listen, and this guy, I should remember his name. I'll put it in the bottom of his show notes because he was good. But at the end of it, he said, listen, this is a boring game, but it's okay to go through once. But even this guy who'd played this thing for years, at the end of the game, there's a situation where you're supposed to take off in this ship, right? And he said him and his buddy spent hours in the hangar trying to get the ship to activate, and they couldn't. Well, he came to find out that you had across the entire maze is a terminal where you have to activate the ship. Okay, now who designed that, by the way, in real world terms?
Right.
That's dumb.
Yeah.
See, that's just being a jerk to the player. So you don't get the real ending or whatever. But I mean, I didn't get anywhere near that far. This was supposed to be an homage to Aliens, is what this is supposed to be. All right, that's where they were going.
Sure.
Aliens are into ductwork, and there's eggs, the whole 9 yards.
Right.
This is 1990. You're on the very raggedy edge of where you could put a game like this out and get away with it, in my opinion. You know more than I do because you're a console boy. But there was some good action by 90.
Well, I think that if you're of this persuasion where you're convinced that 3D is the wave of the future, right? And the fact that you can walk around in this three-dimensional environment really ticks your buttons.
Yeah.
There's nothing on the console that's going to give you something like this. You have to be playing on a computer. You have to. So for that type of player, you're going to be at home with this. But I'm as far away from that kind of person as you can get. Maybe it's because of my age. I feel like being able to walk around in a 3D environment is cool. Like Castle Master.
Yeah.
I thought that was a good game. Because you walk around the castle, you see stuff in the castle, the drawbridge, there's some torches and stuff like that.
It was similar though, wasn't it?
It's very similar.
Yeah.
It just you've got to dress it up a little bit to get over for me. You've got to have something else to look at besides bare walls, and you have to give me something to do that's more exciting than gas eggs.
This reminds me it doesn't not gameplay wise, but look wise sorta. And my overall feeling towards it reminds me of another Psygnosis title, Armageddon, that we did on the show years ago. Lots of fooling out the keyboard, lots of real deep technical stuff that anybody's ever going to see. And at the end of the day, it's sort of a good-looking game, and there's probably some depth to it, but it's so difficult to care enough to get there.
The game is also let down by its control. This is a game that really doesn't require... You got your cursors for movement, okay? And then maybe you've got to hit a button to turn on free look movement, but there should not be a button to pick stuff up. You should just be able to run over it and pick it up.
You know what I think it is? I thought about this. Because this is 2 weeks in a row where we played a game that sort of had unnecessary keyboard stuff. Mm-hmm. I think that this was a philosophy to add quote-unquote depth to your game.
Okay.
I think they thought to themselves,
I can buy that.
We've got a computer here with all these keys, and people are going to want to enjoy the extra depth that we provide with these commands, and which you can't really fight them on that. It's the one thing you get with a computer, but it's 2023, and we're a couple lazy bums, and we don't want to be bothered by hitting the keyboard buttons. It's true, I can't help it. I mean, sometimes we'll do it, but I think that's a way that they try to give their game. And the thing is, how much extra oomph does it take? It's a one-disc game, okay? Much like Castle Master, how much extra oomph does it take to say, okay, you can toggle your HUD, you can do this or do that? Mm-hmm. It's not that big a deal. They can add it easily. It's a little bit of extra on there. It irritates us now, but they did go overboard with the keyboard. Right. But that's just a guess.
And again, this is a one-man show.
Yeah. I mean, no, he had two guys on graphics, a guy on music, but yeah, the coder was one guy.
The coder was one guy. He had a vision, and Psygnosis was like, hey, there's not a whole lot of games where you're in this perspective. Yeah. And the game does run well. It doesn't drag. It doesn't run as fast as it runs on here.
On mine, it ran not much slower than this.
Really?
Yeah, it ran.
I was playing on the Mister, and I was not getting anywhere close to speed. I played this on Amiga forever. Okay.
So I had the juiced up Amiga because I had to hook up the extra keyboard. That's why I had to do it.
Right. So, but anyway, this is maybe I'm walking back my previous comments. This game it could be fun for a certain subsection of people out there.
I don't know. I mean, that are walking around today, I don't know. And the thing is, given the response we had, I don't think there are that many people that are interested in this one, to be honest with you. Now, you may ask, were they interested when it came out? Well, allow me to enlighten you both.
Okay.
When this came out, first of all, the people at Lemon liked it enough. They gave it a 7.17, pretty good score on Lemon. The magazine reviews were fairly kind. Ace, Amiga Computing, Amiga Format, all near 90%. Amiga Joker, 75. That's totally respectable from the Joker. CU Amiga, 94. Dator Magazine gave it 9 out of 10. So a lot of good, everything in the 80s and 90s except for Joker. Joker 75 is like a 200. The overall average scored to Lemon 87%. Very lofty. I think this was a game of its era. I really do. It's also absolutely not the kind of game that me and you would get into in a week. Right. There's also that. So part of this is personal bias against this sort of game.
But I mean, even back in the day, I would not have given this game the time of day. Yeah. Because it's just
no, me either.
It's just not a game that I enjoy.
I agree. Did we get any action with the Discord community?
Zero.
See, that right there is telling. Because whenever we don't get any action from the Discord people, that tells me that people are either scared of the game or are just not interested in
Right.
something that technical. I did look this up on eBay just for fun, and you can get copies. So this is a weird one. Copies of this are going for, they were asking $105 and $106 or best offer on the 105. But some guy had a box copy of this for $50. I hadn't seen any of that sold. And the one thing about here it is another one. And we've covered a ton of Psygnosis games. The game may stink, but the box and crap is awesome.
Right.
You know, so you know you're always going to get a cool intro and a cool box. So this might be one if you're a box guy, if you're one of those shelf people, this might be the game for you. Are you going to run out and pick this one up, Boat?
No, never in a million years.
Me either.
Welcome to Retro Rewind. I'm your host, British Jones. Whether you're into the Amiga, Commodore 64, or Tiger floral print speed suits, Retro Rewind has all you need from the friendly hosers of the Great White North. Looking to upgrade your Amiga? Check out the Amiga OS 3.2.2 Kickstart ROM for just $18. Or maybe you need a C64 or C128 diagnostic harness. Grab one while they're hot. Don't miss our best sellers like the 1541 Transit Card for just $1, or the incredible Amiga Coin Cell Battery Adapter. Shop now at Retro Rewind Limited and bring your classic computers back to life. Retro Rewind Limited. Frank's the man.
Amiga News.
All right, Aaron, we got tons of Amiga news this week. We're going to start things off. There's a new piece of hardware in town, the Parcero, which you might remember we talked about a year ago for the Amiga 1000.
Sure.
This is that sidecar accessory. Before we get into the story, I want to tell you I've actually ordered a Parcero 2 for my Amiga 1000. I'm going to try my best. My New Year's resolution is to use this thing more for the show, okay?
You know how happy and stunned I was? Because you've told me you are up and down like a yo-yo.
I am,
I love
with the
hardware, I
hardware.
hate hardware, so
Yeah.
now you love it.
Well, I still don't love it, but I'm hopeful because here's the thing. If you've got an Amiga 1000, you want to use it. You don't want to just put it in a closet, okay?
Well, I don't know. You've got a lot of great systems in the closet.
But I don't do a lot of shows about those systems.
Yeah, that's
the
true.
difference. And so, I've ordered one of these, and I've also ordered a Rejuvenator
That's
board.
the stunner right
Yeah.
there. Those things. So you've dropped some dime on your Amiga.
Some dime is
All right.
correct. Some dime. So anyway, this is the A500 version. Of course, the Parcero, what does it do? It gives you extra RAM. It gives you an accelerator. It gives you an SD card solution. All of those things. And it is now available for the 500. So you can consult. I believe that these are all made to order. I know that I had to email David personally to get mine. But you can check it out, and of course, Amiga Love is your place for any new Amiga hardware news.
Also the love. We love love.
That's right.
Those things. That's a handsome unit there, Bud, if I may say.
Looks quite good.
Now, is the one you're getting? Did you get the one with the case and everything?
Oh yeah,
So you didn't do a half job. It's
No.
full on.
full on.
Very good, Bud. Boy, I can't wait to see that. That's dandy. Yeah. Any idea on a price?
I believe I paid $235.
So
for
somewhere in the
mine.
ballpark of
So somewhere
that?
around there, I would think.
And what now? You got the Parcero 2, so yours is going
Right.
to be up to date with this one. It's the 1000.
Just for the
version.
1000, right?
Very good, Bo. That looks great, man. Boy, I can't wait to play with that. Oh man, that's going to be fun.
Next up, Aaron, my personal favorite game of 2023, Neon Noir,
Yeah.
is getting a boxed edition.
I signed up for the I want this list. Did you know that? Did I mention that to you?
That's
Yes,
fantastic.
Sir.
So, the author of Neon Noir, known as Mass on EAB, has shown off what looks to be a very attractive package
Yeah,
here.
it does.
4 discs for Neon Noir, not surprising given the stunning amount of graphics in that game. You can fill out an interest form. He has not released a price, I believe, yet, but you can sign up just like Aaron did, and he will let you know what's going down.
You got to get on the news. Look at this thing.
Yeah.
Look at all this crazy crud. I'm assuming you get to use. Look at that's a cool box cover too. Listen, Neon Noir. It took us about an hour to beat this. Even dummies. The dumb guys slobbered it, but I enjoyed it. And the graphics and the aesthetic and the mood, top shelf.
Yes.
I don't
yes.
buy enough of these. These indie gimmicks. I'm going to get on. I mean, I'm cheap. That's probably the problem. And I haven't seen the price on this yet, but I'm hoping it's not super expensive. But I'm in, brother. I'm in.
Next up, Aaron, a festive selection. Amiga Cami has created what she calls the Amiga Christmas tree.
Oh, yeah.
So this is, she does this every year, and this is just a collection of games and mods that you can play. And Aaron, you know, we have a special Christmas-themed show coming up in just a few weeks. So maybe the Game Selection Committee will be making their selection from Amiga Cami's Christmas tree.
What a nice idea. That's excellent. Well done. And Cami's another asset to the community. We love Cami.
Absolutely, absolutely. AmigaChristmasTree.ultimateamiga.co.uk.
Beautiful, man. I love that. I'm going to look through these because this is a lot easier than hunting around. I've been trying to set something up for the Coco. Thank God I got people.
Yeah,
you know, because it's a whole
there's
different
nothing
ballgame.
like that for the Coco for sure. Next up is a video titled World of Commodore 2023 from an Amiga dude's perspective. Tell us about this latest video from Chris Edwards.
This is a Chris Edwards joint, and I watched this the other day because I wanted to get I had talked to Frank briefly that I knew he was going up to World of Commodore. It's funny, until Frank mentioned it to me, I hadn't heard anything about a World of Commodore. It's just a lot like Amy West, like just, I don't know, are we out of the loop? What's
these things
on?
are several thousand miles away from
I mean,
us.
but the fact that they just snuck up and then they were just here.
Yeah,
and like, we were just like, what happened?
Right.
Because we should know. If anyone should know, you know. Get us in the loop, information people. You know, we're dumb. So anyway, this is your boy Chris Edwards. He heads up here, including, he's got the entire trip on the road. Anyway, this looks like a great event. Of course, I think Frank and the crew from Retro Rewind, they were a big chunk of this show. I think they were a sponsor of the show. And Frank was up there with his crew. He said they had a 5-man table going bananas the whole time while they were up there working. Man, there was so much software at this thing, Boat. I was just like dying to like buy some stuff. You know, I was telling Boat after I watched this video, because we went last year, or was it this year? This year we went to the Coco convention.
World of
Chicago.
Coco, I believe it's called.
Now listen, I'm a dumb guy. I'm not what I would call a geography man. And so when you tell me something's in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, I'm like, my God.
It's 400,000 miles
How far
away.
away? How many icy tundras do you have to float across to get to the... Turns out, after I timed it out, the drive time's maybe 40 minutes more than Chicago.
Yeah.
You know, that's
definitely
nothing.
doable.
So we're thinking about maybe rolling up. And also Frank and the gang have come to the Boat Fest every year. I feel like maybe we should go up there and return the favor.
Absolutely.
And this is probably as close as we're going to get to a Canadian deal. So we might try to roll up to this thing next year. It looked pretty good. What'd you say they drew with this thing?
800, according to Frank.
That's big numbers,
Yeah.
Bode. You know, you got a bunch of Commodore 11 hosers up there. Chris Edwards goes around. He pals around with some people up here, and he gets he buys some crap. A lot of C64 stuff at this thing. But I'm hoping, and including, he also talked about the new FPGA Mini Miga, the Mini Mig or whatever. The new one's gonna have, it's gonna run it's gonna have A4000. It's gonna have all kinds. It's gonna be a more powerful version of this gimmick. That's your bag. That's kind of neat.
Yeah.
You know, that's gonna be if you're into that. I know Chris Edwards loves them. So a good video here, and you get a lot of good action. So I would check that out if you're interested in learning about the world of Commodore. Good stuff, Boat. We may be there next year.
We've got a new game on the horizon, Shadow Dancer.
Oh, man.
That's right. Hold me
Bee Gees
closer.
time.
Is that a Bee Gees song, Shadow Dancer?
No, it's Shadow Dancing.
Oh, what's that about?
You never heard that song? You have, trust me.
Okay.
I would sing it, but you'd have to repeatedly kick me in the groin to get me to go up there.
We'd also probably be blocked on YouTube.
Well,
so.
You think I could get that close? Or just for the good of humanity?
So, Aaron, I have not played Shadow Dancer before, but it looks like a game that's right up our alleys. It looks like a sort of Bad Dudes-esque game where you are a sort of a it's like a Ninja Gaiden.
Isn't this an arcade? Is this an arcade clone right here?
This was originally an arcade game in
I played
1989. This is the final arcade game in the Shinobi series.
Yes. I've played this in the arcade or MAME or whatever. Listen, you're right. You can't go wrong with these. Look at that background.
Yeah.
That city's on fire.
That's right.
But it looks good. Got the many hot chicks bound up. You gotta go save them. Then you gotta ninja some suckers. This looks pretty good. I love the new wave of Amiga arcade ports that are coming to town.
Right.
What did they say? Is this another one of those Scorpion Engine jobs?
Yeah, this is another, I believe, Scorpion Engine game, and so you can. It looks like it should squeeze onto a 1 meg chip A500, and you can download the demo right now and check it out.
That's a must play right there. That could be something we do in the old stream at some point in the near future. That might be something fun.
All right, Aaron.
I can't wait till we get to cover some of these because they're coming up. That'll be fun.
Now, one of my favorite C64 games from last year is a game called Rogue. I think it was called Roguecraft.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I played this
or
one.
Rogue 64, sorry. The Amiga version is coming soon. They've adopted a new viewpoint. This is a sort of isometric style game.
Yeah.
But it's that same old, Rogue flavor that you love. Aaron,
I played this.
What do you think? Tell us about it.
It's good. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. First of all, listen, the isometric view, you can't always get away with it.
Right.
In fact, sometimes it's double dead.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But listen, they pulled it off. I played this on stream. I believe this may have been part of Cammy's game jam, as I recall.
Okay.
And, let me tell you something. A little bit, Dungeon Explorer within a Cthulhu mythos. Sign me up, brother.
Right.
Throw a little ISO in there. It's good looking.
Listen, and the price is right. This is a name your own price special.
That's a must. Mm-hmm. God, that's another one. I can't wait to give that one a full whirl.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the time I played with it before. So yeah, that's a good one, man.
Up next, Aaron, probably one of the bigger stories of the week. We have an announcement from the one and only Ravi Abbott that Kickstart 2024, the second installment, is going down in Nottingham, June 29th and 30th. This is of course, the Kickstart 1 last year was the UK's biggest Amiga show, and this year Ravi is expecting even more people, this is a big deal. Of course, it's a huge deal.
I heard there's one huge draw that they're counting on to literally pack the joint. Who is this sucker?
I don't want to brag, but it's me.
Yeah.
Ravi has asked me to host the show this year.
Oh, man.
Which is, I think it's, don't get me wrong, it's going to be an amazing event. I hope
daunting
that the Bitmap brothers of the Psygnosis team aren't there waiting to ambush me.
There are so many guys that could beat the crap out of you. Because you got to think, they're probably people that designed the AGA chipset and crap. They're going to be waiting behind the curtain with chairs.
That's right.
Wailing you.
Right.
I can't wait to see the video of that. Listen, congratulations, Bo, for being asked to MC the biggest. This is the biggest Amiga event in England, and they want you to come all the way overseas to MC the event. That's outstanding.
I'm definitely grateful for the
Good
opportunity.
job.
I think we're going to have a real good time. I know that many of our friends are going to be there. Neil, Pixels at Dawn, Pajako, Graham W. Vebke is going to try and show up there.
Getting up there? Man, he's a world traveler, globetrotter.
So I'm really looking forward to seeing all the guys again, and of course, helping make Kickstart 2 even better if it's possible than Kickstart 1.
This looked like an awesome event. Look at this. Hoffman, the guys were there last year. The guys that did the game we just talked about, Badger Punch, were there last year. So now, you may have mentioned, have you heard any lineup for what's
I do. I know lots of lineup talks. However, I am under an agreement to not speak of it yet. But the info is going to be rolling out shortly.
Tell Ravi that since you're in the mix, that he needs to throw us a bone here. How about a little something for me next time? See if he can give us a scoop.
Okay.
One scoop. Go to Ravi's a good friend of ours.
I'll ask Ravi, see if he'll do us a favor.
That's right. Okay. That's right. Good. Congratulations, Bo. That's dandy.
Aaron, up next, a little something for Ole. It's Arctic Attack Christmas.
Oh, God. The only reason I put this story in here was because I wanted to hear you pronounce it. It's Arctic Addict Attack Christmas. Arctic Addict Christmas. Our good buddy, our good pal, Happy Coding, and his crew over there. This just popped out, I believe. And it is ready to download. You can grab it for these. This is a ZX, but we're skipping over because we like.
We talk
the
about
boys.
what we want. That's why.
That's what I've heard that. I heard you badmouth the guy over that. But listen, these things are always good. And of course, we actually both like Addict Attack. It's a game we played on our Sinclair a while back, Boat. So it's fun. But check it out. Again, we'll have everything in the show notes here. But it's a fully modded Christmas version of Addict Attack. Who doesn't want that?
Me. I want that.
Gift in the egg. Get a presents up there, man.
Listen, and since we're on the subject, Aaron, this comes directly from Happy Coding's hand to my hand.
Oh, boy.
To your hand.
Oh,
he
what do we got
wanted you
here?
especially to have this.
Look at this, everybody.
This is Ooze the Escape.
Oh, man.
And look inside there. Look how they do the inside. It's a new thing.
Oh, that's double sweet, everybody. Look at that. Thank you, Happy. I believe I saw Happy hand this up at the when you were on RMC's joint.
Right.
That's awesome. These are the guys over at the Midnight Brew. Same guys that we're just talking about Addict Attack. Thank you, Happy. It's something I will be playing sometime in the near future, one of my streams,
on a
brother.
disaster stream.
That's a
near
good
you.
look. Look how professional. The days of the way I used to do this crap are over. You know, when I used
How did you used to do
when
this
I used
crap?
to liberate
When you used-
PlayStation games.
Oh, I thought you were going to tell me when you used to program and sell your own games.
No. Well, I mean, yeah, no. I'm just liberating games, but you
Okay.
want to look good. But you were too cheap to buy like the printer labels that you get for the discs.
Right.
So you would just try to cut, round up, and some little stickers, and they'd get caught in the PlayStation, and the sticker would come off. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Or if you tried to make your own disc labels in your printer,
No
and they would
good.
come off in the floppy
Yep.
because you're a geek.
Yep.
So I mean, they've come a long way. But thank you, Happy, and all the fellows over at the Midnight Brew. This is a beautiful Amiga game. I will give that a whirl.
Next up, Aaron,
That's
Atari 2600 Plus. First impression.
I demanded that this be talked about, and I'll tell you why. Listen, I don't know if you ever heard of the show. It's one of your old stomping ground shows called This Week in Retro. But what you got here is our pal Agima. We talked about this guy before he was even on that show.
Right.
I was like, man, I like this guy. And the reason I like him, he's double into it. He's like the Coco. He's like the passionate guy, right? So everyone's bought one of these Ataris, like everywhere. Everyone's got a video out of the Atari with the HDMI cable. Like you've seen them. I don't know if you've been looking, but like every sucker put one out. Everybody. And so I thought I was surprised at Agima. I was like, this guy's gonna put one out too, you know. But it doesn't matter because the best part of this is the reason he breaks it out here is to sit around and smell this thing. Like, that's what I loved about it. Agima is smelling this Atari the entire video. He's like, what is that smell? And he smells the box. He smells everything. And he'd already opened the box before the unboxing. He's like, listen, I wanted to do this on camera for a reason. It's the smell. And then he smells it for a while. He's like, it's got that old 70s electronic smell. How did they do it? And he's the first guy I've heard that said that about the Atari
Wow.
2600 HDMI
Well,
gimmick.
he should get together with Tech Liquor.
That's what I
and
was
they can
thinking. That's
collaborate.
exactly.
Yeah.
They can have their own channel.
Yeah.
But I mean, listen, good on this guy. By the way, he'll be happy to know that they're releasing a patch to take care of a lot of the problems that people have with their PAL 7800 cartridges. Some other stuff. Hey, give Atari credit. They're already updating
I'm looking,
this thing.
John Marshall apparently has one of these things and is going to bring it to the next Taze Valley Classic Computer Club.
Oh, okay. I mean, do you know how many Atari 2600s I've got? I've got like 5. And that's not counting the 7800. I gave you a 7800.
Right.
We've got them to beat the band. And so I can't go out and buy one of these. But the funny thing is, the output was so bad, I had to use the Mister.
Well, I was going to say, that's probably why people are buying these, even if they already have Atari 2600.
But the Mister, it handles this stuff quite nicely. But anyway, thumbs up to Agima. Every video this guy does, like, he's into it. And that's what I love. I love people that have the passion, brother.
Yeah. And finally, Aaron,
Oh, man.
the Game Awards 2023.
Oh,
Now,
yeah.
you watched this with bated breath last night. Tell us about it.
Scoob in our Discord was like, look, hey, they're having the Game Awards. And I go, well, I was like, what is that? I got to try this. I got to check this out, these Game Awards. And so I flipped over to see what they were. Right? And so I've never seen an award show that was like this. And by the way, I was like, hey, I wonder if anyone's doing like a live watch along. Well, everyone was doing one. Everyone on Earth. And so they were all like in misery. So I was watching this thing, and I've never seen an award show that talks so little about the nominees, the recipients of the awards, or the awards themselves. They would buzz through categories like 4 or 5 awards at a time, and then the rest of the show, nothing but trailers for upcoming. And so what they were trying to tell you is, everything that happened in the last year, forget about that. Here's what's coming up.
Yeah.
And eventually they brought out, they're like, here's the big crazy deal. And they brought out that Kojima guy. And you know he's nuts.
Yeah.
And then they bring out Jordan Peele. I guess
Right.
they're working on this. And here's what got me with the Kojima bit. He's like, what? They're like, well, he's working on something. It's not really a movie, but it's not really a game. and it shared a little clip of some David Lynch style idiocy, like some people just like saying crap,
Right.
and people were like, "Oh God!"
Oh, yeah.
They were
They're losing their
salivating
minds,
like dogs. Oh God!
Yeah.
I don't get this guy, this
Yeah.
Kojima guy. He's off his nut. He's out of his mind.
Well, he's made a career out of being out of his mind. He's like David Lynch.
And I mentioned the Scoob. Every game I saw almost was from Japan. I'm like, does anyone else make any games anymore?
Not of consequence.
They don't.
Yeah.
They don't.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me.
I mean, there's Bethesda, Rockstar, and all the Japanese
They showed
developers.
Bethesda's new game, but their new game's already out. That's what's it called, Space or whatever? Starfield.
It's called Space.
Space is better. Hey, I had a solo in that. Have you played the Starfield?
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I got bored after 5 minutes.
So sort of like the game we played on the Amiga.
Yeah.
But what was the? But I mean, it's the the big dog.
What it is? It's Skyrim in space.
Okay.
And so
But people love Skyrim, don't they?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I've moved beyond.
It seems like it'd be less interesting to like explore.
Yeah, I for whatever reason, the space setting doesn't interest me like the fantasy setting does.
Yeah, well, I mean, fair enough. But anyway,
I think it's because of the shooting, because it's really a shooter, and I'm just more interested in killing things with like a mace.
What I liked, getting back to the awards show, just in closing, I watch as much as I can stomach because I mean it's just like any other awards show. There's a lot of back padding,
Right?
Geeks in the audience, geeks on stage, just geeks everywhere, and they're talking about geek stuff.
Look at that thing in a monster suit there.
And I
Robot Man.
watched this show, and I looked at all these games, and all the upcoming games, all you see is the trailer. They don't show any gameplay hardly at all.
Of course not.
And I thought, man, this was a real dud. And then I'd said, like, this is a dud. I typed it in, and Brent chimed in. Best games ever. Here it comes. Like, Brent was like, I can't wait. It's all good. Kojima, I was like, oh, my God. There's a new Final Fantasy coming out. People are losing their mind over that.
I think you and Brent on Sunday should definitely have a prolonged discussion about your differences in this.
I'm not going to, because I couldn't sit there and just like, I'm going to watch 6 hours of this. I would kill myself. Just go watch the trailers. That's all it is. But anyway, weird show. And I've been told this is one of the better ones. So there you go, Boat. That's all I got.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week's Amiga news and other news.
Yeah.
Aaron, what's been going on the old YouTube channel lately?
Well, of course, we just released the newest R. Sinclair, which was myself and the Brent, filmed it last Sunday, which was Worst Things Happen at Sea. Listen, the ZX Spectrum, not to put it over here, but I'm going to, I love that machine, and it's just one of the reasons I love it's for games like this. This game looked hard. It looked complicated. I watched a wall of text roll by with tears in my eyes, and then it was great. I loved it, and Brent loved it too. It's a lot of fun. I urge you to try it. If you haven't checked out R. Sinclair, have a look. This is a ZX exclusive. It was never released anywhere else, and it's a lot of fun, I think. We had a good time on that one. And I think that's pretty much all we've had this week was just that. So we'll be back in the saddle coming up on Sunday. We're going to do the Coco Christmas Spectacular. So join me and the Brent for some Coco action, Boat. It's
all
gonna be a lot
right.
of fun.
What are we going to play next week, Aaron?
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's find out, shall we? Oh, man. 'Tis the season for International 3D Tennis.
Now, this
International 3D Tennis, Boat.
that is definitely a tennis game. Now, unfortunately, we're not playing International 3D Tennis.
We're not?
We're playing Super Tennis Champs, which is a different game.
Really?
Yep.
Did it win in the poll? Because I had to double check to make sure. Okay, great. Well, listen, we're playing International 3D Tennis.
Super Tennis Champs.
No, I'm putting my foot down.
Okay.
This is in 3D.
Okay, listen, I've had about as much 3D as I can stand.
Listen, the thing is, once you land on the tennis court, then you've got to fight your way into the game. So you're telling me I put the wrong logo in this scene?
Yeah, now I'm not going to blame you because we sat here before the show and stared at this logo, and I didn't notice until this exact moment.
The thing is, I had the wrong logo in here first, and so I changed it.
So anyway, do not be fooled by what you see before you. Super Tennis Champs is the next game for Amigos, and we will see you then. Patreon.com/Amigos Podcast.
There can't be that much of a difference.
Probably not. We'll see you guys next week, and until then,
Adios.
adios.
3D.
Amigos is made possible by contributions from listeners like you. Patreon supporters help choose the games we play, receive exclusive magnets, and get access to the Amigos Retro Gaming Discord server. Visit patreon.com/Amigos Podcast if you'd like to support the show and join our community.